Hello, Discovery Gardens family and friends. I'm so excited to be here again with you guys today on this amazing Friday. Who does not love Fridays? Today we're going to continue on with doing our Dr. Seuss theme. So today we are going to be making Cat in the Hat snacks, or if you want to be fancy, you can put them on cupcakes and make them Cat in the Hat cupcake toppers. And we are going to make deviled green eggs and ham. Let's get started. Okay, so before we start cooking, we want to remember that we don't want to touch anything in the kitchen. We don't want to work with food until we've washed our hands. And we want to wash our hands so that way we can clean all the germs off. For washing your hands, what we're going to do first is start the water. We don't need that much. We're going to start the water, and you want to make sure it's at least a little bit of warm. We don't want to do completely cold water. And we're gonna start with getting our hands wet. Make sure we get the tops and the bottoms wet and in between all of our fingers. Then we're gonna take some soap and we're gonna rub. And we're gonna do the tops and we're gonna do the bottoms and we're gonna do in between, and we're gonna just keep on scrubbing. And a good way to make sure that we scrub our hands for long enough is to maybe sing the ABCs twice. And that way you know you're doing it. Because we want at least, say around like 30 seconds for washing our hands. And we're gonna get all the water off and make sure we get in between our fingers, over the tops and under the bottoms. And then we just shake our hands off. And then we dry them with a towel or a paper towel. And now we're ready to start cooking. So the first thing that we are gonna make is our Cat in the Hat snacks. And we're gonna make the hats. What they look like is, I'm gonna show you one. Here is a little hat. And we're gonna make these out of our Lifesavers, our leftover frosting, and our little Oreos. So the first thing that you wanna do when getting your snacks ready is to take your bag of Lifesaver gummies, or if you have a roll of Lifesaver gummies, you could do that too. And we want to separate all of the red ones into a bowl. And we want the red ones to be separate already because it's going to make it a little bit easier when we start to do the stacking. So the first thing you do is you take an Oreo, and we get those from our pack of Oreos. And we're just going to twist it and twist it and twist it some more until we can separate it completely. And if it cracks, that's okay. And then it's gonna be separated like this. And this, we're gonna set to the side and we're gonna eat it later because Oreos are good. And if you don't like chocolate, you don't have to eat it later, but you can give it to another one of your friends or one of your family members. And we're gonna set this Oreo right here and put this one to the side because we don't need that one right now. And then what we're gonna do is take our frosting and a butter knife. Make sure you have a butter knife. And we're gonna take some frosting right here. This looks like a lot, but we're not gonna put all of it on here. And we wanna pick one side. We're only gonna put frosting on one side. We're not gonna put frosting on the other side. And we're gonna put just a little bit, and then take the rest of your leftover frosting and scrape it back inside your bowl. And we're gonna try to feel around all of the edges of your Lifesaver gummy. And the white frosting is here on the red gummy to imitate these stripes on the Cat in the Hat. And you're gonna press it down just like that. And then we're gonna do it 2 more times. And that way we're gonna have 6 stripes in total. It's gonna be 6 stripes because we're gonna have 3 white stripes and 3 red stripes. And when you do your frosting, it does not have to be perfect. It could be however you want it to be. If you want it to look super clean and have a really neat line, then what I would do is put the frosting into a plastic bag and you can pipe it, or you can, instead of getting a container of frosting like this, get the pre-piped icing bags. But I like to do this because you get a little bit more and it's kind of fun doing it yourself. And we're gonna do it one more time. All right. And now we have 3 white stripes. 1, 2, 3. And we have 3 red stripes. I don't know if you can see it, but it's 1, 2, 3 red stripes. And you have yourself a little hat. And we're gonna set this to the side and do as many as we want until we have a ton of cat in the hat hats. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna make is green deviled eggs and ham. And this is a really nice, nutritious snack. It's gonna have a lot of protein, good foods for you. So I'm really excited. When we do these deviled eggs, the first thing we're gonna wanna do is come to the stove top. So if you can see, I'm at my stove right now and we're gonna want to get a pot. You can get whatever pot you want. It depends on how many you want to make. We are gonna start by making a dozen deviled eggs. So we're gonna need 6 eggs. Okay, so after we have all 6 of our eggs in our pot, what we're gonna wanna do is bring our pot over by our sink and be really careful not to crack your eggs at all. And we're gonna turn our water on. And this is where I'm gonna need everybody to use all of their great math skills. So I have this measuring cup right here, and we're gonna measure 2 3/4 of water for my pot. And that's because we're gonna want the water to sit just above an inch above where your eggs are. But remember, if you have a different size pot, your pot might not need 2 3/4 water. It's gonna really depend for each person depending on the pot. Okay, so we're gonna wanna stop the water once it gets to right here. And we know because the water is gonna stop right by the 2. And that's gonna show us that we have 2 cups of water. And you just pour it in like so. And then remember, for my pot, I need 2 3/4. 3/4 is gonna be this line right here that says 3/4. And there we have it right there at 3/4. We're gonna put this water in here as well. And then what I'm gonna do is put my eggs right here, and we're going to turn our stove on high. And we're gonna let the stove sit on high until it is completely boiling. Okay, so with our eggs boiling right now, what we are going to do is come to the stove and move it to where it's super low, just like that. And then we're gonna take our lid and we're gonna recover it. And be careful because it's gonna be really hot. And then we're gonna set our timer. So timer on. And remember, 12 minutes. And we will just wait. Okay, so now that we have all of our eggs completely peeled and cooled down, we're gonna take them, and each one we want to be the long way. This is the short way. We want it to be the long way. And we're gonna take a sharp knife, so be very careful when we do this. And we're gonna take our sharp knife and cut straight down the middle like this until our eggs open. And you should see 2 yolks on the inside of each. What we're gonna do with these yolks is we're gonna have a bowl right next to us, and we're gonna just dump the yolks out and put them in each of the bowl. And I'm gonna keep cutting long ways and just set these empty egg baskets to the side because we're gonna use them later. Okay, so now that we have all of those eggs set to the side and all of our yolk here in this bowl, what we are going to do is take our fork, just a regular fork, and try and mash them up because these eggs are too perfect and we need to make our inside. And we're just gonna keep on mashing them all. And if you look, you can see how the eggs are gonna crumble and fall apart. And they should be very soft. And once your egg looks like this, all smashed up and crumbled, we are going to use our mayonnaise that we have. In this case, I have Miracle Whip. And we are going to take 1/4 cup. So if you look, I have 1 and a 4 on here. We're gonna take 1/4 cup of mayonnaise and put this in here. And we wanna make sure our measuring spoon is completely empty. We wanna get all the mayonnaise out of there. So go ahead and just get your mayonnaise here and scoop that all into your bowl. And then we are going to take our mustard, and you can use yellow mustard or Dijon mustard, whichever one you have in your fridge. It will work just fine. And with our mustard, we are going to have 1 teaspoon. And be careful not to do a tablespoon. It's gonna be 1 teaspoon. And just like how we did our mayonnaise, we're gonna scoop all of our mustard and get all of this in the bowl. And if you need to pat it, that's perfectly okay. And we are going to mix all of this together. And what we're doing right now is making it so it's a little bit creamier, and it's gonna mix a little bit better once we put all of our dye in it and have to move it back into our eggs. All right, and then it should look about like this. So not too different from how it was before, but just a little bit creamier, a little bit smoother. And what we're gonna do is, and this is completely optional, you do not have to put any seasoning in there if you don't want to. But in my eggs, I really like to put just 1, maybe 2 shakes of paprika and of pepper as well. Take like 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 of pepper. And now we're just gonna mix in all of our seasonings. And this is just gonna help to give our eggs a little bit more flavor. All right. And then now what we're gonna do is take our green food dye and we're gonna put some squirts in here. And the more green you want the middle of your eggs to be, the more food dye you're gonna have to use. And we wanna be very careful not to get any food dye on our clothes. So you can see I kind of got my finger green opening this up. It was being difficult, but let's be very careful not to get it on our clothes just in case, because we do not want it to stain. And we're gonna put 1 and 2 and 3 of green dye. just to start off, and we're gonna see what our dye looks like. And I'm going for a very green look. This is what it looks like as I'm mixing it, and this is with 3 colors of food dye. And I think this green is a little bit light. You can decide if this is green enough for you, but I am actually gonna put 2 more. So 3 plus 2 equals 5. I'm gonna have 5 scoops of food dye in total. And that's just gonna make our green a little bit darker. And once you're finished up with it, your food dye should look a bit like this. And this is gonna be the inside for our green deviled eggs. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is grab all of our eggs that we have moved out of frame with all of the yolk that is outside of them, like this, and we are gonna use these as little spoons. So, grabbing a clean spoon, what we're gonna do is take 1 scoop of our green inside and put it in here. And we want our eggs to be pretty full, just like that. And we're gonna go ahead and do this for all of them. And I will be right back with you guys. All right, so once we have all of our eggs filled with green stuff, which they will all look like this on the inside, just like this one also. We're gonna fill all those with green stuff, and then we have to do our ham because the book is called Green Eggs and Ham. And we are gonna make really cute ham roll-ups. And all that you need is to just take your lunch meat, and we're gonna take 1 piece of ham and we're gonna fold it in half like so. And then we're just gonna roll it up. And you're gonna keep on rolling it. And you're rolling it just in a circle, kind of like a burrito, or how you would roll up a sleeping bag. And we're gonna take our toothpick and stick our toothpick completely through it. And then because we have all of our eggs done already, we're gonna have our egg right here. And on the side, we're just gonna put our ham in it. And we are going to have an adorable green egg and ham roll up. I'm gonna go ahead and do all of these, and I'm gonna show you guys the finished product.